Mm. Hello, and Joe Trottola here. And today we're going to go over the customer service best practices and just a couple of disclaimers. If you can just take a moment and take a look at them. So, what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about some of the successful steps that you may want to incorporate to have a very successful and rewarding career. One of the things that I noticed out there was that there was a poll done just recently in one of the Facebook groups. And in that Facebook group, they had asked, where do you feel that you're spending the most amount of your time? And a lot of the people had 30% of the people had voted that they're spending the bulk of their time doing claims work, working with claims. And it got me wondering, why are so many agents spending so much time working with claims? We enroll hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people every quarter, thousands a year, and we spend maybe the collective amount of time of maybe 2 hours in the whole year dealing with claims, which is almost zero amount of times. So it got me wondering, what is it that we can be doing differently as a group, as agents, so that we can be in a position where we're constantly helping people select coverage rather than dealing with things that, if we had done some of the necessary steps in the beginning, we wouldn't necessarily have to deal with long term. And so I thought I would spend some time talking about what we consider steps to a successful enrollment. We'll go over a little bit about the important documents. I'm going to take a look at our customer service workflow, what we send out to clients, and things of that nature. So very important, as you all know, you have to get your permission to contact. If you have an existing business relationship, then your permission to contact has been established. If the person came in from a lead, you just have to document, the type of lead that they came from. Obviously, before you talk about Medicare Advantage plans and Medicare supplement plans, you want to document their scope of an appointment. As you're going through the analysis for the PDP or the MAPD, we do encourage you to confirm the spelling of each of their drugs. You want to verify the dosage and verify the frequency. And here's really two very important things a lot of people forget to do. And that is, number one, you want to ask them if they're taking it currently, and I'll explain why in just a second. And number two, you want to ask them how much are they paying for the medicine today. A lot of times the client will communicate to you at a very expensive medicine, like a Humira or a Brio, and you go and do your analysis, and you're centering your analysis around trying to find out the most cost comprehensive way for them to pay for Humira or Brio. Now, if anybody's ever priced out Humira, you know that it could be in the thousands for the whole year for the drug, $6,000 or $7,000. So very, very important. Ask them if they're taking it currently. If you find out that they're not taking it currently, then you need to probe a little bit further and try to understand why they're not. And then if they are taking it currently, you also want to ask them how much they're paying for it today. If they tell you that they're taking Humira currently and they're paying $5 for it, then the light bulb should go off, and that should mean that you should be able to understand that that Humira is probably being subsidized by the pharmaceutical company that makes it. So very, very important, asking them, if they're currently taking it and how much they're paying for the medicine today. I encourage everyone to verify on Google, the complete spelling of the drug's name. It also gives you an idea of what the drug is for. The other thing you want to ask for them is their pharmacy of choice. And very important, you want to ask them if they're willing to change the pharmacy if it meant saving money. If they're dead set on going to a local pharmacist to obtain their medicine, and one of the big box stores can save them thousands of dollars a year, you got to understand whether or not they'd be willing to make that kind of change. And vice versa, if they're going to a big box store and then saving some money by going to a local pharmacy, it's important that they understand that. The other thing you want to do is you want to encourage mail order as an option. Some people will just give you a hard no. They'll just tell you straightforward, absolutely not. I'm not going to do mail order. And then the other thing you want to do is you want to be mindful of the name brands versus the generics. For example, Synthroid versus Levothyroxine. Sometimes the person will communicate to you that they're taking Synthroid. You go ahead and put that into the system. Come to find out, Synthroid is $60 or $70, when in actuality they're really taking the generic equivalent, which is levothyroxine, which is only $6 or $7. So very, very important. If they give you a name brand, you want to ask them if they're taking the generic equivalent. You certainly want to know whether or not they meet the criteria for the income or asset limitations for the low-income subsidy program offered by Social Security. And then if they're on a very expensive name brand, like the one I just mentioned before, Humira is an example, you want to be able to go over to needymeds.org and see if there's a pharmaceutical assistance program that's available to them. When you're looking up doctors, we encourage you to look up every single doctor on Google and confirm the spelling and take note of the doctor's zip code. And then when you go to look up the doctor in the network, you want to search by the doctor's zip code. Once you identify the doctors in the network, you want to take a screenshot for your file and you want to give that to the client. Very important documents that we would tell you to put into every single file. Obviously, the scope of an appointment, confirmation number, if you're using one of the third-party softwares, if you are doing your scope of an appointment through one of the carriers and they give you a confirmation number, you want that into the client file. You want a copy of the enrollment application, the PDF version if you can. We put in a copy of the summary of benefits in every file so that if and when the client calls in the middle of the year, we can immediately service them in a few moments, as opposed to having to go and find the summary of benefits in order to help answer their questions. You got to give the client the star ratings. Very important. We encourage you to store that in the file. You want to do a screenshot of their medication list, their pharmacy of choice, and their specific drug plan pricing. One of the biggest complaints that the plans get each year is prescription drug pricing. So when you can screenshot the medication list that the client gave you, the pharmacy of choice they want to pick the meds up from, and then what each of the different months will look like with the drug plan pricing, and then you can deliver that to the client. It's very, very, very important. Adds a lot to your credibility. And then finally, as I mentioned before, the Medicare Advantage network doctor proof, you absolutely want to provide that to the client. Very, very important. So what generally happens after the client becomes a client? And generally what we do is we do either the next day or the day after what's called a welcome call. And the call flow goes like this. It's just basically, introducing ourselves to them and letting them know that we have a scheduled customer service call today. The call will last about 15 minutes. We ask them to go get a pen and a piece of paper. And we give them the complete spelling of our first and last name. So whoever the customer service rep is will identify themselves by their first and their last name, and then let them know that going forward, they will be their dedicated customer service representative. The other thing that we do is we go over the enrollment from the day before. We go over the plan or the policy that was sold to them, and that we want to make sure that they have a complete understanding of everything. We give them we confirm the spelling of their name, their address, the city, the state, the zip, the email, their Medicare number, parts A and B, marital status, county. If it's a Medicare supplement, we reiterate the deductible. We go over that they're going to get their medical ID card in the next 7 to 15 days. If they want us to send over the new insurance card to their doctors, we can do that for them as well. Depending on whether or not they're turning 65, if they're within 90 days of their effective date, we schedule a call with the prescription drug department, which goes over their PDP plan. If they're more than 90 days away, we let them know that, I say that wrong. If we're outside of 90 days, we schedule an appointment with them with the PDP department. If they're within 90 days, we try to get them on the phone with the PDP department right away. If it's Medicare Advantage, We go over the plan and we bullet point the major copays for PCP, specialist, ER, hospital, ambulance, outpatient, and x-ray. We just reiterate this. The reps go over the entire summary of benefits, but we reiterate this for the clients. We make sure that their medications are covered by the plan. Again, because the agent put into the file all the different forms, we're able to see all this. And then basically, if there was any ancillary products that were included, we go over the details with that as well. And then basically, we just let them know that no matter what, they can give us a call between regular business hours or even outside of business hours, no matter what. But if you take a look here, we reiterate hardcore that no matter what, they are to call us. They're to call us before the health plan. They're to call us before they call their doctor. They are to call us first because we can resolve their problems very, very, very quickly. After that, we send them two things. The first thing we send them is a cover page that looks something like this, okay? And it's very basic. It just says, thank you for your trust and confidence. Has the effective date of when their plan or their policy will commence, what plan type, referrals, whether or not their plan requires a referral to see a specialist, doctor network, whether or not their plan requires them to see in-network doctors only, deductible, whether or not their plan has a deductible, if they bought a plan G or a plan N, and then obviously letting them know that will be their agent for life. Now, again, this does not replace the materials that you have to give to them. This is just basically a one-page summary of what they did with you. The name of the Medicare plan, we handwrite it in here. The policy or the member number, we handwrite. If they have a monthly plan premium, we handwrite that. The policy effective date, the PIN number. We give them a PIN number that we create in our CRM tool. So the PIN number basically identifies to them that it's us calling. So we let them know that anytime somebody from one of our offices will call, we will call them and identify us by their PIN number. And so we have a unique PIN number system that we give to them. And then obviously you would put your name here and your phone number. What we do is we put this on top of, if it's a Medigap policy, we put this on top of the brochure of the carrier that they bought. If this is a Medicare Advantage plan, we put this on top of the summary of benefits that we had already emailed to them that they will also get a hard copy for. So it's just multiple bullet points and touch points that they're going to get from us. Once their policy goes into effect, then we will then send them a thank you card. In that thank you card would be a magnet, and then with that magnet, they have our phone number at any given time. The other thing that we put together is we put together what's called the Medicare Advantage workflow. It's just basically about 10, 11 points that you can use to kind of flow your customer service process. You don't have to do it the way we do it, but you want to just make sure that you do a couple of different things. Number one, you always want to follow up with the carrier about 3 days after the enrollment, just to make sure that their enrollment has been accepted and activated, okay? And then we always call the client no matter what within 3 days, just to let them know that their plan has been approved. We provide to them their member number, very, very important. And then if we're getting close to the first of the month when their plan is going to start, we also provide them the group number, BIN number, and RX number if we're in the second half of the month as we're getting close to the effective date. The reason we do this is that if they need to get medicine on the first of the month, they can just give a piece of paper with that bit of information on it, and the pharmacist will be able to dispense their medicine. They'll be able to bill the health plan on their behalf. If it's a chronic special needs plan, we let the client know that they must contact their PCP with instructions to complete the verification form. Very, very important that that gets done. If it doesn't get done, the client gets disenrolled from the plan. And then if there were any ancillary products that were presented to the client, it would be during this customer service call that we would talk about cross-selling them. And then also we want to make sure that the client is set up on a monthly email drip so that we stay in front of the client ongoing and forever and whatnot. It's very, very important. And then, of course, again, we just reiterate that it's very important that they call into us no matter what for all the reasons and end reasons. I believe if you're able to do this kind of system, okay, all right, I believe if you're able to do this kind of system, then you'll be able to minimize and eliminate the client service issues that a lot of agents are out there talking about. You shouldn't be spending 30% of your time helping clients with claims. Here we are, a multiple thousand agency, and we're not even spending 3 minutes of our time, 3% of our time dealing with claims, let alone 30%. And I believe it's simply because we follow this regimented system for top level customer service. So hopefully this information helps you guys out. If anybody wants any of these details or materials, don't be afraid to reach out to me. You can send me an email and I will send you over anything that we have that can help you with your business. So with that, take care and be good.